Are you happy with the current image quality from popular Canon cameras like the R5, the R1, and the EOS R7? Well, Canon isn't. According to one reputable source, Canon is planning on shaking up the APS-C lineup, with one of the cameras having a global shutter sensor, providing better image quality and due out in 2025. The only question is, will we see it in the R3 Mark II, the R7 Mark II, or something else? Well, stick around to find out. But before we get into the details, please subscribe to this channel. It doesn't cost you anything, helps this channel grow, and keeps you up to date on the latest camera coverage. A solid source claims that Canon is planning to release a global shutter camera and that it's going to happen in late 2025 at the earliest. A surprising comment was that it would come in a potentially high-volume camera. And wasn't it just yesterday that I was saying that Canon is going to release the R7 Mark II as more of an upscale camera for more of an upscale crowd, and that the timeline for this announcement was going to be sometime in late 2025 or the second half of 2025. We also heard from Canon rumors that the R3 Mark II is also planned for 2025. But with the announcement of the R1 in July, it's pretty unlikely that Canon's going to release another version of the R1 with a global shutter and do it next year. And let's be honest here, none of these cameras, the R1 or the R3 Mark II, is going to be a high-volume camera. So, if we think of what's due for a refresh, the R7 Mark II was released 2 years ago, and we're already getting leaks of a second half announcement. And of all the cameras to be refreshed in 2025, the R7 Mark II makes an awful lot of sense to give that camera a global shutter sensor to make it more upscale. That would be a huge improvement over the Mark I with a 29 millisecond readout speed. It's absolutely useless for any sports or fast action photography, for any wildlife photography, as you can see by these shots here. Like, where are the wings? What's going on? It looks like it's the result of some bad Photoshop editing. Giving the R7 Mark II a global shutter sensor would certainly shake things up. But what about the R6 Mark III? It is targeted for a Q1 release. If the R6 Mark III gets a global shutter sensor, it would be a last-minute change and push the date of release further into 2025. But the R6 Mark III is another one of those high-volume cameras, and a global shutter sensor would make many very happy if Canon managed to solve the low light challenges. But could Canon go and deliver a high-volume camera like a refresh of the R10 or the R50 with a global shutter sensor? And granted, the R50 is within the window for a refresh, but it's not in urgent need of a refresh. Simply match the Sony ZV-E10 vlogging capabilities, and that's all that's really needed. Given the added cost to produce a global shutter sensor for the R50, doesn't really make a lot of sense. So no, I can't see Canon putting a global shutter sensor in an R100 replacement, an R50, or even the R10. None of these cameras would benefit from a rolling shutter to nearly the same degree as the R7 or its customers. But hold on a minute. There's another possibility. I mean, after all, Canon could release a completely different camera that doesn't completely fit into the current lineup. Canon rumors had previously said, we've been told that Canon will be shaking up its APS-C line significantly later in 2025. And a shakeup simply means that what we're seeing as options today, the R50, R100, R7, and R10, may not be options later in 2025. Maybe what Canon's looking at doing is coming up with a whole new flagship APS-C mirrorless camera that would basically be aimed at people that are looking at a true successor to the 7D Mark II. And then maybe come in at the hobbyist level to deliver a camera to people that were interested in the 90D, into the M6 or the R10. And then at the very bottom end of the marketplace, introduce a camera that gives people who already have a smartphone with highly capable video and stills capabilities a camera that, well, they would want. This is very interesting. 2025 was looking to be a bit of a sleeper month, but now it's beginning to look like it's a pretty exciting year, with many announcements expected in Q1 from Canon, Sony, and Panasonic, as well as Nikon. It looks like we might get a whole lot more energy out of 2025 than first thought. But while we might get excited about these new cameras and specifications, it's important not to get too carried away with the fear of missing out or getting the next shiny, incredibly new, exciting toy. And with that, just remember that Black Friday deals are still on. The R5 Mark I is $1,500 less than the Mark II. The Nikon Z8 is still $500 off. And I've got over 20 different cameras and lenses from Canon, Nikon, and Sony in the links down below, affiliate links to B&H and Adorama of some incredible deals. What we saw happen on Friday and last week, many of those sales are continuing. I was expecting that maybe the R5 might go up again to maybe $28.99, but it's still at $27.99. And there's an awful lot of great deals. But please, if you could do me just one favor, if you're looking at buying from B&H, Adorama, or even Amazon, then please consider using my affiliate links down below, these guys right here, although I do have specific links to specific products in the description down below, along with pricing. By using those links, you're basically supporting this channel by helping keep the lights on, because I get a small commission back from each purchase. And a big thanks to all of you that have helped me in the past. It's very much appreciated. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing and engaging in the community section. Now, I did promise I would put out another video today, a continuation to the piece on the R7 Mark II yesterday, talking about the R50, the R10, as well as Sigma, Tamron, and a whole bunch of other announcements. Well, I've got that scheduled to shoot later today to come out tomorrow. That is, of course, unless, of course, other big news comes out, but it's already scripted, so all I have to do is shoot it and edit it. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, tuning in. Have yourself a great week, and we'll see you again soon.